Thank you for tuning in. A live stream new episode of the Stephanie M. Seaton Sunday Show will be starting soon. With your host, minister, and author Stephanie M. Seaton. If you would like to be a guest on the Stephanie M. Seaton Sunday Show, email Stephanie at stephaniemseatontheauthor@gmail.com.
Well, hello, and welcome to season 3 of the Stephanie M. Seaton Sunday Show. Tonight we have Coach Deborah in the house. Very happy she has been here before and kicking off season 3, episode 2 with Coach Deborah. Welcome.
Whoa, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am. Very happy to have you here tonight. We're going to be talking about all things Coach Deborah. She's going to be talking to us tonight about her podcast, about her book, and just all the things she's got going on in the community. It's going to be an amazing conversation tonight. Listen, go ahead and get your coffee, your popcorn, whatever you need to get comfortable. Like, tag, and share. Make sure that you have subscribed to the YouTube channel, the Stephanie M. Seaton Sunday Show, where you can hear powerful, amazing testimonies of people and see what people have going on in the community, okay? So let's go ahead and get it kicked off. Coach Deborah, it's been just a couple of, I think maybe about a month ago that I had the pleasure of being on your platform. And I always have a good time coming on there. It's like, I can't even explain it. It's like a second home, if that makes sense. You know, being interviewed by you, by your team. I mean, it still wasn't, I was kind of thinking it was going to be you, but I know your network is broad, and that is amazing that you have so many hosts and everything. But I was so comfortable, even still, you know, I was still so comfortable. You know, sometimes we get comfortable with just familiarity. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I tell you what, coming on your podcast, it was still amazing. I was so excited to be there. We had some moments where I was trying to fight back tears, but it was very impactful. And I just want to thank you again for the opportunity to come onto your platform. I don't take that lightly. So thank you so much for extending that invitation to me. Let's kind of talk about your podcast. Let's kick it off talking about your podcast. And we're going to talk a little bit more on how you kind of design the podcast and your heart, your passion that you have for young men in the community. But let's just kind of talk about the podcast. So how did that come about that you decided to start a podcast of such diversity? How did that happen?
Well, I had this burning desire to work with young men. You know, our young men, our young ladies, we always say that's our future, but that's our now, because they have to be groomed and come forth. There are a lot of programs out there for young ladies, but I would see, our young men falling on the wayside, and people tend to want to, look at them, whatever, instead of saying, how can I help them to do better? Right. So it was a burning desire that I had. And the way God just illustrates and puts things together so perfectly. But I went to Dallas to a children's work retreat with Coach Ricardo Miller. And he had turned the retreat into a joint leadership retreat as well as the children's retreat. And they were talking about investing in yourself and things of that nature. And so I had connected with him, and I was telling him, about this desire I had. And he's like, well, have you ever thought about, doing a broadcast? And I'm like, no. But, it kind of went into that. But I just had this desire to help young men, to show them that you're going to make mistakes. Yeah. But if we get behind our young men and teach them, train them up young in the way they should go, then, it'll be so helpful. And so that's how I started. COVID hit, but that didn't stop me. I just, took on running. And And the rest is history. This is year 6.
Wow. 6 years. That is amazing. That is amazing. Wow. I'm only 2 years in. So let me ask you this. When you first got started, did you see yourself like in this for the long haul, or were you kind of just testing the waters, or what?
Well, I was kind of, it was new to me, so I didn't know really what to expect. But it was like, when I first started recording, of course, it was just me out there, and I'm just doing these little, little nuggets here and there of my message and what I had to say. But I was even like so afraid to do that live. So I just, so Coach Ricardo, for those of you who don't know him, he will push you. So he kept pushing me, like, when are you going to do this live? When are you going to, I'm not. See, yes, you are. So I just began to do it. And when you have a passion for something, I guess it's a little different. So, I know it's God has given me a purpose to do this, and I have a passion for it. I love it. I can do it 24 hours a day, I think, because sometimes my husband has to say, okay, you're going to eat, stop.
Yeah.
So it's just, I'm just intentional in keeping it going.
Okay. Now let me ask you this. So before the podcast, what did life look like?
So before the podcast, I'm in a job that I work part-time. I work with young men, not directly, but I work for a financial services company. So I see a lot of what goes on with young men, the immaturity, things that they're not taught. So any young man that I could, embrace or talk with, I'm trying to have that conversation. I'm trying to be helpful. We have 3 young men of our own. The youngest is 33. The oldest just turned 50. So I've had experience, as a single mom. Now I'm married, but, I was a single mom out there. So I know the types of things that mothers run into trying to raise young men.
Right.
So it's been a journey, but it's something that, I knew that I had to do. I had to have help because I'm not an expert. I did go back to school. I was like, hey, if I'm going to do this, I want to make sure that I know what I'm talking about. I'm equipped. So I did go back to school and get my MBA in human services counseling.
Okay.
But I still don't know everything, but I so want these young men to get the best that they can, to make them the best that they can be. And that's why I have my podcast now, because I take the time to get experts in that can help. Counselors, therapists, educators, mentors, pastors.
Yes. So for those of you that are just tuning in tonight, we have Coach Deborah. Her brand is called Build Your Best Life, and she has a podcast that she's expanded, also has book, just a pillar in her community and online presence, where she nurtures, coaches, and mentors, specifically young men. And I just think that's amazing. She said a key word: single parent. There's so many of us, even including myself, that are single parents, and sometimes we need that extra help, especially when we're women raising sons. And so resources like this are amazing to have. So if you're tuning in tonight, you definitely want to look up Build Your Best Life with Coach Deborah. She's going to talk a little bit more about some of the things different shows. Let me say that the different shows that are showcased, and the resources that are available on the brand. She's going to talk about that here in just a moment. So let me give you a little bit about her bio. So she's a life coach, a speaker, an author, ordained minister. She believes that it is better to train early than fix later. You know what? I love that, because the reality of that is, I can remember, Coach Deborah, when I was looking for someone to help me mentor my son, and everybody was busy. Right? Everybody was busy, cousins, pastors. There were no programs in place to really mentor or to stop and spend time. And I thought to myself, now, if he had already went out and committed a crime, or if he had went out and done something wrong, then everybody would have time to talk about that, right?
Right.
But what about being proactive, that we pour into, minister, mentor young men and women, but young men before they go out and make bad life choices, right? And I know that was really difficult for me to be able to find that. I just recently got him connected with a program through his school. But what would you recommend to those single moms out there that are looking for programs like yours? What would you say?
Don't give up. Be intentional about finding something there.
Yeah.
Just like I'm here, a lot of people don't know about me. So that's when, why we find the wrong things to get on social media about. So these are some of the things that we need to get on social media and share.
Yeah.
Stephanie's, shows like this, Effective Living, the shows that are going to help and assist.
That's
but
right.
Moms, please don't give up,
Right.
because like I have a passion so deep for my young men. And because of that passion, I know, hey, what young man is going to say, hey, this lady has this program, Be Your Best Life. I think I'm going to get on there. Not too many, but that mom, if we can engage with that mom and pull you in, then maybe you can get your son to look at some of the segments, or you can learn for yourself.
Right.
And teach him, well, I didn't know that I need to do that. A simple showing your young man how to be respectful for, first of all, himself.
Right.
If he respects himself, then he's going to want to respect that young lady.
That's right.
So, and when we help our young men, we are doing something so great, because you say, well, why are you doing this for young men? But think about it. If you help that young man, helping him, is there so much that he can do more than he would if he was out there struggling.
Right.
And then for those people that have daughters, that's the type of person, young man, that they want their daughters to meet.
That's right.
You're helping a whole lot of people,
Yeah.
So that's why we want to raise our sons up. And, it was one thing when I was raising my sons, and if they were dating and I saw them do something inappropriate, I would say to the young lady, hey, that's my son, but you don't allow a young man to do that.
That's right. Yeah.
So, it's just important. But there are some programs, and like I said, people don't like to share information. But, get out there on Google, get in those conversations, sit down and listen. Sometimes if you're just quiet, we can hear people talking about different things as well, and get that information. And
that is true. We should be more open. We should be more open. And, I like to use the word kingdom connection, but we should just be more open with sharing information that's going to be a blessing and change people's lives. It's not something that you should keep to yourself, And so I think this is great that you're doing this. One thing that stood out when I was kind of reading the information on the basis behind your podcast and working with the young men. So often, even on my podcast and men's podcast, we talk a lot about men and their emotions. And I saw here that you're helping them to build the best life by transforming their emotions, and by being able to actually express emotions, but also understanding challenges and negative emotions, even when they encounter like diversity or whatever they've got going on, but just learning how to be respectful, even in those moments when they're expressing their emotions, right? Kind of talk to us a little bit about that. What does that look like when you're having those conversations and you hear these young men who haven't been allowed to express themselves? and then they have, I'm assuming, some aha moments. What does that look like?
Yes, well, there are so many of our men, our senior men that were raised that way, to keep their emotions inside. Men
Mhm.
don't cry, boys don't cry.
Yeah,
So what have they been doing with that? They've been keeping it inside. So you see these people that snap, and you think, oh, that was just my coworker who sat right next to me, but then
yeah,
he went and did this. Because they're holding those emotions inside. What's happening with it is eating them like a cancer inside.
yeah,
God gave everybody emotions to use.
yeah,
So the crying, that's a necessary emotion. Getting angry is a
yeah,
necessary emotion. Being sad is a necessary emotion. However, if you don't tell them that it's okay to do those things, then they don't know how to use those things. So, yes,
mhm,
it's okay to cry, but if you sit and you cry for hours and hours,
yeah,
something's wrong with that.
yeah. That's another thing. Yeah,
So you get angry, but if you get angry and then you start punching holes in walls, there's something wrong with that.
yeah, yeah.
So you don't say to them, squelch your emotions.
Right.
You're supposed to utilize your emotions. That's what they're there for. But teach them.
Yeah,
When someone makes you angry, listen, think about what they just said. Why did it make you angry? Is what they said, did you hear it the right way?
right.
Is it something that was already bothering you that ticked you off?
Hmm.
You have to stop and think,
Yeah,
because actions have consequences.
yeah.
So what you say or what you do in that moment
Hmm.
can take you down the right path or a wrong path.
Right.
You have to be very, very careful. So I urge moms and dads to stop that. Men don't cry.
Yeah,
Men don't get angry. Men don't do this.
yeah.
Men have the same emotions that ladies do.
That's
And
right.
we have to expel those emotions.
That's right. That's right. What is your favorite Bible scripture?
I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me.
I love it.
And that is because I, you think about people say ego.
Hmm.
But in order to be successful and build your best life, you gotta love I first. You gotta love me first. You gotta
Yeah,
take care of me first.
yeah,
And that's what's happening with all the mental health and all of that stuff. The self-care and all of that. You gotta love yourself. So I love myself.
yeah,
I can do all things through Christ because I know He's here with me. He's in my heart. And He's gonna, if I take the time to listen to Him,
yeah.
He's gonna guide me in the right way.
That's right. That's
So
right.
that's why I just love that.
Me too. And when you feel those moments of weakness, and you quote that scripture, which is Philippians 4:13, it instantly gives you strength.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not in what it reminds me of is it's not in my strength. It's not in my strength because I'll fail myself.
Yes, every time.
But thinking about the fact that putting Him in it is where I gain my strength. The word says His strength is made perfect in our weakness. And so when I'm like at my lowest, I'm exhausted, and I think about, okay, but let me put the Lord in this equation and not do it in my own power and in my own might, right?
All right.
And that's where we often have to go to find comfort. So love that scripture again. For those of you that are watching, that is Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So that's one of those scriptures. Write you a post-it note, put it on your refrigerator, put it on your mirror. Listen, we have to speak to ourselves. We have to really encourage ourselves and speak to ourselves the same way you set reminders to remember this and to remember that. You can set scriptural reminders to encourage yourself throughout the day. We've got to do whatever we need to do to have transformed minds. Okay. So let's talk about the diversity of your podcast, The Blueprint for Success. I know we were kind of talking a little bit before we went on, where you have certain days that you do different types of panels. So kind of tell us a little bit about the diversity of the podcast.
Well, with the podcast, as I stated earlier, I don't know everything. So it's, this is to benefit our young people, single mothers. So then we need those experts on. So on Tuesdays, we have Blueprint for Success. So that's where I have all the educators, teachers, mentors, business owners, CPAs, anybody that has any type of nugget or information that they can share out to assist. They're on Tuesdays, every single Tuesday. We don't miss a Tuesday. And it has just been beneficial because, it's surprising the number of people, if you just reach out and ask, this is what I'm doing. Can you come on and share? People are happy to do that. So it's been amazing. And over the, every year, I probably kind of like tweak the name or change the name. Last year was Reach Out for Success. This year's Blueprint for Success. Then on Tuesdays, we have let's talk about it.
Okay.
And it's about what's trending, what's that conversation or what's that buzz that's going on that people want to hear about. And so that subject varies, but we have the same 4 young ladies that come on every designated Thursday. So on first Thursdays, I have Tanya Ferguson, excuse me. On second Thursdays, Carol Crockett. Third Thursdays, Anastasia Smith. And then on fourth Thursdays, right now in this season, we're doing fundraisers. And then if there's a fifth Thursday, then I'm on with that. Let's talk about it.
Okay.
Hey, hot topics. Some things that ladies just don't know. Only men can tell other men. So we have hot topics. It's conversation with the guys. And that's every second Saturday at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. And it's a panel of 4 men, and they mix it up. But you're talking about some great topics. Oh, my goodness. They talk about everything from emotions, sex, how to treat your mom. You name it, they talk about it.
Okay, that's nice. That's nice.
Just can't believe it. Then, of course, moms, single moms. We have third Saturdays is Moms on a Mission, Raising Sons for Success. And that's at 9:30 a.m. on third Saturdays. And so, again, it's a panel of 4 different moms. And the topics that we talk about are those things that we can instill in our sons. How can we help them? Can we help them through emotions? Can we be overprotective? What's this thing about mama's boy?
Yeah.
Teaching them how to do things around the house. There's no such thing as his chores and her chores. It's just chores to be done.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And then we have 4 major events every year. We have Mothers with Sons conference. We have Men and Boys Conference. We have an educational symposium, and that's in August. And then in November, we have a Grateful Conference.
Okay.
So all of this is imparting information. And when I tell you we have some wonderful speakers from all over the world, it's just great. I love it. Excited talking about it.
Hey, I see you getting excited. I'm loving it. I'm just over here smiling. Yeah. I think that is amazing what you've got going on, Coach Deborah. I want to share a video promotion, just kind of spotlight as we get ready to go into talking about your book, Build Your Best Life. So you guys, we're going to take a short break. We are going to see a promotional video. We're going to showcase some things Coach Deborah's got going on. And then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about her book. And we're going to talk about what started the brand and the theory behind the book. Okay. So we'll be right back.
tonight's special guest, Blueprint for Success podcast host, Deborah D. Smith of Build Your Best Life. Deborah's vision: I have a passion to help young people win in life, and more specifically young adult males. As a resident of Jacksonville, Florida, I'm committed to helping those in my community, state, and nation to discover the principles that will help them discover their purpose and maximizing their potential. Please visit my page, Build Your Best Life with Deborah D. Smith.
All right. So again, make sure you visit her page. I am going to put her contact information here on the screen. No matter when you are watching this episode, you will be able to get in touch with Coach Deborah. Her links are there in the comments, so you'll be able to reach out and see how you can be a blessing to her, as well as connect with her with the different programs she's got going on. Okay. So, wow. Build your best life. How did you come up with the title?
Well, again, we want these young men to know that, they're going to make mistakes in life. Things happen in life. Their personal upbringing, they may be abused. They may be homeless. When they get ready to go to school, you got the peers, the bullying. They may make mistakes, steal something, hurt somebody unintentionally. Whatever it is, you can overcome obstacles and build your best life. You got to just have a changed mindset.
Yeah.
And, sometimes you can't do better because you don't know better.
You said a lot right there.
Right?
Yeah.
So build your best life. Who doesn't want a better life?
Yeah.
No matter where you are, you always want it to be better. So don't, be down on yourself, and because somebody else says that you will never amount to anything, don't believe them. You were made by God. He created you to be somebody, and you can.
Definitely. What you're doing is teaching people who don't know. And that's what it's about. A lot of times there are people who don't do better because they don't know. They haven't been taught. And that's the good thing about programs like what you have, is you're breaking it down for them. Not only, setting the bar, but you're telling them how to get there, And I think that is really important, because we just take it for granted sometimes that people just know, and no, they don't. Sometimes if you haven't been exposed to desiring more, or to, wanting to be successful. Some people, they don't know even what success looks like, right? Because success for some people is surviving through the day. It's not being an entrepreneur or being a business owner. It's literally making it through the day without an incident or an occurrence, And so I think that is great. Let me ask you, what is the most critical aspect of a person's success? What would you say?
Again, I would think it starts with you.
Yeah.
Many people make mistakes, or they go around the wrong path because they don't like themselves. Let alone love themselves, don't even like themselves.
Yeah.
And that can make you bitter. That can make you cruel. Where did you come from? What's your past? What's your background? So you have to start by loving yourself.
Yes.
Because if nobody else loves you, God loves you.
Yeah.
You need to love yourself too.
That's right.
Because if you don't love yourself, you're not going to respect yourself. You're not going to care what you do. You're not going to care what you say, how you act. But if you care and love yourself, you're going to want to respect yourself. So that is so very key.
Definitely. I was in a room last night, and we were talking about how you get through the stages of healing. And one of the young ladies was talking about a healing journey, and she had been struggling with some things. And I told her, well, in order for you to get to the point of the Lord helping you with those things, you got to first love yourself enough to let the Lord help you. And in that moment, she kind of looked at me. She goes, so it starts with loving yourself. I said, yeah, because the reality is you got to love yourself enough to know you deserve better. And the only person that can give you better is the Lord, and so it takes that surrender that, what, for me, it was, I'm tired of myself. I was sick and tired of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I told her, we have to get tired of ourselves and we have to desire to want better, and then we can yield or surrender and then let the Lord have his way in our life. Right.
That's right.
Yeah. So a lot of people would probably ask you, I know you've probably heard this question 1,001 times, but I will ask you again, just for the sake of those in the back, Coach Deborah. Being a lady, being a mom, a woman, why did you create a program that services young men specifically?
Well, it's like I'm sitting over here and everybody's passing me by and nobody's saying anything to me. So, hey, I just sit. So I see this need. I have a passion for young men. I just always have. Before I had kids, I was like, oh, I just want a girl. I just want a girl. God bless me to have sons. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade them for anything in the world. But, I just see, I see this need. And like I say, people pass by and they rather talk about what the guy, these young men today, they're no good. They don't want to do this. They don't want to do that. But I don't see anybody trying to help them. Where's everybody? Nobody's helping. And so, hey, I may be a female, but I think I can help. I've raised some boys, some young men, and I was by myself for a long time. I might not have been the best, but, I know some things. So what I do have, I have that passion, and God has given me that purpose. I'm going to step out on faith, and I'm going to try to help. And I just saw so many things, even with, I'll say, even young men that they're right now, they're not struggling with anything, but if they continue down the path they have, so just see a young man with money. So I've got money. So I'm doing this and this and this and this and this, and I got it going on, but going down the wrong path. And if you don't slow it down,
that's right.
Think about some things, then you're going to find yourself trying to overcome obstacles and build your best life. So, so that's kind of where I went. I didn't see anybody. I know it was a need, and I didn't see a lot of programs. You say, moms can't find anything, but you always see these programs for young ladies. Okay, well, if y'all help all the young ladies and y'all not helping the young men, there's something wrong with that. And so it was just something I just had to do. I just had to step out and
well,
do.
I think it's amazing. I salute you for looking out for the young men, because the reality of it is young men go through just like women, if not more so, because of the expectations.
All right.
There's so many expectations. You have, a lot of different programs that you're working with in your brand. If you had to impart only one part of your program, what would you say is the most significant part?
Okay, well, my program is built on basic principles, just learning basic principles, because the world changes, technology changes, but basic principles, they don't change.
Right.
So it's based on basic principles, and I have 5 pillars.
Okay.
That those principles are based on. So you got a strong base, and then you got those 5 principles.
Okay.
And very quickly, I'll give you those principles. First one is associations.
Okay.
Because we are like the 5 people that are most around us all the time. And it's very essential for young men to understand. That might be your boy. Y'all might have been together since y'all were 3 years old. But you have to be intentional about who you have in your circle.
That's right.
Then you need to be with like-minded people that are trying to do positive things and go in positive directions. Did that. The second one is self-discipline. There's going to come a time in your life when there's nobody to say, do this, do that, you should do this, clean up, do that. No. you have to be self-disciplined. You have to tell yourself, I have a job. I need to get up and make sure I'm on that job on time.
That's right.
To be a good employee. I need to have ethics. I need to have values.
Right.
You have to do it on your own. You know, you can't always have a crutch.
Yeah.
Right. And the third one is goals. I don't care what you want to be in life. If you want to be a park ranger, if you want to be a garbage sanitary worker, if you want to be a scientist, you have to know, how do I get there? There's a path to get wherever you want to go. This is why we got these navigation systems in these vehicles. If you want to go somewhere, you got to know how to get there.
That's right.
You got to set those goals. And then I won't go any further than that, but you have to set goals.
Right.
Okay. The fourth one is positive mindset.
Yes.
I can do all things in Christ who strengthens me, but I gotta believe it. I can have a mindset.
Yeah.
Well, I might be able to do all things, but I don't know. No, we can't do that. You gotta remove can't from the scenario.
Yeah.
I'll never from the scenario.
Yeah.
You gotta think positive.
That's
we are what we think. And then that last one is financial literacy. Didn't say getting rich. Didn't say you gotta be wealthy, but financial literacy. If you have $100, you need to know how to manage that $100. Be a great steward of it to get the best bang you can out of that $100.
That's right.
You got to know some things. And I think those 5 things are essential. And a lot of those things, like financial literacy, they used to teach in school. Some schools don't teach that anymore.
Right.
You need to go back to basics.
I think that is amazing. You hit on some really good life skills, basic life skills. Like you said, you need some principles and things to build on. I salute you for what you're doing. The Blueprint for Success, this podcast is amazing because you have so much information that you're providing. And then the programs themselves, what does that look like? If a young man comes to you to join a program, are there programs that they can be a part of in the community behind Build Your Best Life?
Oh, well, of course, as a life coach, I can coach them. Also, my husband, as well as some others, we can be mentor them. So we can do one-on-one mentoring. I'm trying to, like I told you, we having a challenge this month with the book, 31 books in 31 days. But every young man that I get to, I start working with teenage and young adult males. That age group doesn't have money. Right. So, and Build Your Best Life is a 501c3. We're trying to donate, or not donate, but provide these books and this time, this coaching for young men. I'm just trying to help, not trying to, trying to get paid. I'm trying to assist them in overcoming those obstacles and building their best lives. So we are trying to do that. So all they have to do is reach out, www.buildyourbestlife.org. Email me at byblwdsmith@gmail.com. We are here to help. We are here to help with a smile. Glad to do it.
Well, listen, it has been amazing catching up with you again tonight. Thank you so much for coming onto the podcast and sharing your passion with us. You just light up when you talk about this. And so that's a good thing. We all should get to a point where we find our passion. Like you said, it's when you're doing it, it doesn't feel like work because you actually enjoy what you're doing. In closing, Coach Deborah, what would be your final thought to someone that's watching tonight, a single parent looking for a resource, or just kind of deciding, is this a good fit for me and for my child? What would you say to them tonight?
I would say, go back out and look, Look at some of our broadcasts. They're still out there since 2019. I
Yeah.
was looking, I might think I'm on 800 and something on YouTube episodes.
Yeah.
But the information is out there. And like I say, I work with people in Texas, California, Ohio, all over. And I think Jacksonville, Florida, of course, in Bahamas, Jamaica, Canada. They're making an impact. Reach out. I mean, try it. You might like it. Just try us.
I love it. I love that catchphrase.
Yes. And my slogan is building your best life is our business. It's not a slogan, it's our commitment. We are here to and committed to be an asset and to help change the lives of young men for the better. So the statistics can go down, and we didn't even touch on the mental health, but all these things that are going on with our young people, mental health issues are on the rise. So,
yeah.
And that holding in those emotions, that's one of those things that is impacting that. So,
yeah.
Please just reach out and let us attempt to assist you or head you in the right direction. We may know someone that's even closer to you that may be able to assist.
Thank you again, Coach Deborah. Tonight, we have been talking with Coach Deborah of Build Your Best Life. Make sure that you check her out. She has a page on social media, on Facebook for sure. Are you on Instagram as well, Coach Deborah?
Yes, Instagram and YouTube. Yes.
Okay, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. So make sure you check her out. Make sure you partner with her. She has a fundraising campaign that's going on right now in order to have resources to pour back into the ministry group. So make sure that you reach out to be a blessing. Again, thank you so much, Coach Deborah, for being here tonight. Remember, healing, empowerment, and transformation. That is our goal, to get to a better place. We need to find our purpose for which the Lord created us, so that we can function in it and find our passion, so that we can glow up and smile like Coach Deborah tonight.
Yes.
Thank you. Have a great night. Thank you. We'll
Thank
see
you
you
so
next
much
time.
for having me. Good night.
Yes, ma'am. We will be back on Thursday night, where we will have none other than our mutual friend, Pastor Ricardo Miller. He will be here talking about his newest book project, as well as his church launch in Red Oak, Texas. I had the pleasure of being able to go and be there in person on this past Sunday. And so make sure that you tune in on Thursday night at 7:30. All right. Have a good night, Coach Deborah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
If you would like to be a guest on the Stephanie M. Seaton Sunday Show, email Stephanie at stephaniemseatontheauthor@gmail.com.